because I'm the only person that's subscribed to my channel. So hit the subscribe link, and yeah, stay informed, have that reassurance on my work. So I'm not a big proponent of these snake oils, these elixirs. If you look at the safety data sheet on a lot of them, they basically consist of acetone, paint thinner, isopropanol or rubbing alcohol, and just all types of various chemicals that are utilized for breaking down dirt and debris, cleaning agents. Now I'm pretty sure in like unison, they probably form some type of chemical reaction that probably enhances the abilities. I don't know. So I want to see if it has lubricating properties to where it's going to enhance the injector's performance. And being that this is an upper cylinder lubricant, the lubricity, the properties, in theory, should be able to allow the pintle that opens for the. Let me show you an injector. So I got an injector here. What happens? The fuel comes in from the fuel rail here. You know, I got a fuel rail too. Hold on. All right, here's a fuel rail. Oh gosh. So fuel will come in through here, and it will generally go out from a regulator that will be here. But this rail here houses the fuel and houses, stores, whatever. So what happens? Everything's pressurized through here. Fuel gets squirted out, emitted through the bottom here. Don't know the technical name of all this stuff, but what's supposed to happen is supposed to mist, like it's supposed to atomize with the air into the intake. So once it starts tumbling down into the combustion chamber, we will have good atomization. So you're supposed to have a mist that comes out. So you don't want a stream or anything. You want a good mist so it'll atomize with the air properly, and it will help give you a good efficient burn. But what I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking here. If it's an upper cylinder lubricant, this has lubricating abilities and properties. So this should essentially release the pintle inside of here. It's just like a little valve that operates off a magnetic field. So when it's activated, it comes. I'm just gonna just drop. I don't know if it drops or opens. I'm pretty sure it varies with injectors, but just go with me here. The pintle will move. It will allow fuel to be emitted out, and with the pressure, these little small nozzles here will cause it to be fine enough to atomize based on the construction of the nozzle. So this has 4 little ports here. I'm pretty sure 4 of those little streams there will come out in a fashion that resembles this pattern here. So when the injector goes bad, instead of a mist, you have a stream, and that could be caused generally by trash. But a lot of people know or realize you do have strainers inside the fuel injectors here. You have on the older cars, like take this old Integra for example, you have a strainer and injector, a fuel pump strainer in the tank, and then you have an actual fuel filter that sits in the engine compartment. You have 3 lines of defense here. And I want to say 4 because hell, the fuel pump will pulverize some of the dirt. You also, even like with new cars, you'll have a housing assembly that has like a strainer, and you also have another strainer filter before the pickup. So I'm not a big proponent of the fuel treatment cleaners on a plethora of reasons. Gasoline itself is a cleaning agent. If anyone ever pulled out a gas tank, it looks spotless. I mean, you'll have times where you can gather trash, but I digress. But I want to see if the lubricating properties will reflect on the oscilloscope. The average voltage you would see on the inductive ramp or inductive peak, you will see around 60 volts. So I'm just assuming I'm going to get an average baseline with the vehicle running, and just get the low and then the high. Also, I probably maybe like take like an average or something. I'll try, but of course I want to get the car to normal operating temperatures. So we'll get a roundabout figure where the inductive ramp is, and again that inductive inductive spike is again is the release of this pintle, and that spike is just basically that the voltage that it produces as a result of it rapidly releasing, because it do store voltage in there, and at some point in time you'll see on the ramp dissipate and dwindle down to a lot of interferences. So it'll eventually dwindle down to normal 14 volts, because I am going on the high side. It'll pull down, you'll see it open, and then it'll collapse, it close off, and you'll see the spike, and then you'll see that ramp. So again, we're just looking at the spike here. Generally, the higher the spike, that generally will reflect the efficiency of a fuel injector. So just to go back and reiterate, we're going to be looking at the change in that spike, if there is a change, because I'm just assuming this, if gasoline is as effective as it is, we have a baseline with the efficiency of the injectors. And mind you, all these injectors are working fine. I tested all of them until I decided to make a video. I'm assuming, if this is an upper cylinder lubricant, this has cleaning properties, this is well known as being the top of the line, then this should enhance the function of this fuel injector by increasing the inductive spike. I'm just assuming. I'm not saying that the higher the number, the more efficient it is, but I can't help but to think that. Again, I'm not that smart when it comes to, knowing everything about these injectors and how they operate, but I know that on average, the injector has to be around 60 volts on that inductive spike there. I've seen some, even on I'll max out on my scale here at 100 volts, and it'll go above that. Though I'm pretty sure that probably has something to do with the impedance. I don't know. But I'm going to get the car started. I got my oscilloscope hooked up. I'm on a 100 volt scale, and we're going to keep it the same division. And again, we're not going to pay attention to all of it, but I might just go ahead and briefly describe what's going on with the ramp that we're looking at, and then we'll put the injector cleaner in here. Now, it says you're supposed to use this for 25 gallons here. I have a gallon of fuel in a water container right here. I am sponsored by Food Line. It's like, no, I'm not. What I want to do, I want to give this the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to put half this container for 1 gallon, and that's well beyond what's supposed to be in there. And I see Project Farm putting like, the accurate amount that it's supposed to have based on the quantity of gasoline. Great, but I gotta know. I'm gonna load it up. I mean, it's not like, people generally put this in their gas tank, and gas tanks generally hold about 15 gallons of gas anyway, most cars. I just don't see this stuff working anyway, but I'm going to give this the maximum chance possible by putting half of this, which is like 2.5 fluid ounces, somewhere around about that, 2 fluid ounces in 1 gallon. So that's going to be like I think probably like a freaking 5-to-1 concentration, I guess. So over what probably supposed to be in there. So let's get a baseline. I'm going to go ahead and pour this stuff in here now. It's a little bit more than half right there. Shake it up. and shake it up some more. And when we get a baseline here, this should be shaken up pretty well to the point where we can go ahead and administer the fuel source inside of my non-dismantle injector cleaning kit. So it's getting all of this, not just, I'm not pouring in the gas tank a lot like a lot of other people know. I need to know like right now. So what happens, I do have a video, I'll probably put the link in there where I've used this Morphon, I think it's called Morphon non-dismantle injector kit. Got it for $100 off of Amazon. It worked, but I will say it has its purposes. I'll put the link in here. Anyway, we're going to get the full effects of it, and I want all this to go straight to the injector. So it's going to be no driving with this, and we're going to find out in like, well, my time, probably like an hour and a half. Y'all's probably like, depending on when I can shut up and start doing stuff. So let me get the car running, let me get the oscilloscope set up, and we'll get a baseline. All right, so I got my injectors hooked up here, got a 100-volt scale, and the injector sequence is irrelevant. It doesn't matter, but what we're looking at over here to the right is our peak value, our top value. So from ground to the tops of those inductive peaks, those are our approximate values here. And we can see, it's like I was telling you a little while ago, it's above 60 volts. So again, 60 volts and above is generally going to be a normal operating injector, or a healthy injector. I have not put treatment cleaner in here. I think I put acetone in the gas tank like a year, 2 years ago. But I just keep the oil leaks taken care of, change the oil on a regular. This is that type of car. I drive it everywhere, so I'm not a simple car. It's an old car. Anyway, so I'm gonna pause it here on this frame. We're gonna zoom in that event, or the waveform of the injectors here. You can see. So here we have we're idling at 14 volts there, since we're on the high side. You see it pull down the signal here. So now at 0 volts, the injector's open. We can actually go down here and look at our time base and see how long, we're getting an approximate time of how long that injector's opening. Then at some point after 2 milliseconds or so, it closes. And then here's the spike I'm referring to, that inductive spike. And then our ramp here, if I recall properly, is going to be our decline of voltage from that magnetic field. So it's a gradual descend there. And if you zoom in, say you can look up the noise from the pintle right there. And I assume that's the frequency generated from the pintle as things start to decline to normal 14 volts there. But again, I just want to make sure, see if that upper lubricant makes any difference on this top value here. So we can see that at the most thing I've seen was like, there's 65 right there, 63. So it's linking around 65 or so at the most. But I'm gonna let this run and probably try to get some still shots of the peak values. But it's on video now, so I mean, I'll probably take that. But if I have to refer back to a comparison, I'll take this here. So, all right, I'm gonna get set up. I'm gonna let this run for 5 more minutes and just monitor the values, see if anything changes, and we'll just get a viewing of me setting up the fuel system cleaner, and I'll run everything off camera come back and compare the numbers when I hook everything back up. So I'm going to hook everything back up normal because we have a baseline fuel pressure with the car running, and it will be pointless for me to check it with inconsistent fuel pressure with the non-dismantle fuel injector cleaning kit. All right, I'm gonna get my I got about I go back. So I got a value of 65 at the most. I do have a screenshot of that, but I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this hooked up. And basically, what I'm gonna do is take various fittings that I have, hook it to the inlet of the fuel rail, block off the return. I'll administer the fuel source inside the top of the container here, pressurize the system and regulate it with this regulator, and start the car up. This is just basically going to be an alternative fuel source. Just to establish some truth value here, I'm going to pour a little bit more inside of the reservoir for the fuel injection cleaning kit, and then I'm going to pour I'll put the remainder, it's about a liter worth, inside the container also of the mixture, half mixture and half gasoline there. And I already checked for, I put air pressure through the system, check for leaks, everything's fine, and I'll get it started up. Back on. I want to pressurize the system now. It should be preset already. I already had used it before, so it should go up to. I got about 60 psi in there, so leave that connected. Now I should be able to start it up. I even have the valve open. Totally, totally my fault. That'll do it. All right, I'm gonna let everything run for as long as it needs till it shuts down. I'm just gonna show you the pressure here if we can. So we're holding about 59 psi. So it's technically a little richer than normal. I'm gonna lower it to, I'm gonna leave it there. I'd rather have higher than normal fuel pressure. At least it'll encourage the injectors to open up more efficiently. So and this is what I'm thinking, if the pressure's higher, it's more than likely able to get debris out instead of working off the normal pressure. That's my conjecture here. But I'm gonna let this run, do its thing until it shuts down. I got the air conditioner on, and I don't want to change nothing from how I had it running before, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. And I'll be back once it gets done. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the injectors while it's running, and we'll compare after too. All right, so here are our values while it's running. Now, it is staying a little higher than it was before, but that still could be because of the fuel pressure being higher. The fuel pressure will force it to stay open a little longer, and it will definitely alter the way it closes because it's a competing force that pinto's fighting against. So it makes sense, but that's why I want to check it with the vehicle utilizing its own fuel pressure. All right, it's getting low and starting to run out. All right, that's it. Everything's back hooked up normal. I'm just gonna let it run for about 2 minutes. Then we'll look at the waveform of the injectors and see if there's any change. All right, let it run for a little. Oh shucks, what did I do? All right, we'll let it run for a little bit. So we're still around the same value. So we're gonna take a look at everything now. So it seems like we're still at the same value, topping out at 65 volts. However, I will say, and this is just me, maybe it's a confirmation bias, but I'm trying to go against that right now. I will say it seems to be steadily a little higher. Now, I'm not talking much, but maybe 2 volts or so. It seems to be more consistent around 65 than it was previously. So I mean, I'll give it a little credit. Here's the thing: there's not going to be any significant savings by purchasing tune-up in a bottle and assume that you're going to get a significant increase in gas mileage. Again, gas is a cleaning solvent itself. The thing is, if you do the math, you spend $5 on a bottle of this elixir here to clean your fuel system. If you add that to the gas and the mileage you save, you're really not saving anything. To be honest, you're actually spending more money. This is just it doesn't do anything. So again, this is what really wouldn't be so conclusive currently, but I just want to see if there will be any different on the top value of the peak during the inductive spike here. So could be, you know, but at the same time, I don't think the change was that significant because, I mean, again, when I first checked these injectors, they were all working properly. You know, there was nothing wrong with them. There was no discrepancies, and I was trying to find something wrong with these injectors, but unfortunately, I didn't find anything. But I want to give it a try anyway, just to see what'll happen. I'm still going to say it's not worth buying these, and I will definitely continue doing other videos on fuel injection cleaning solvents or like Cataclean, or anything that will claim that is going to help optimize gas mileage or do any type of astronomical claim to enhance the fuel system. My thing is, I'm not trying to down Lucas oil or anything. It's just, everything that is on here is they're just claims. And I mean, honestly, I say this to myself all the time. I wish I would have went in the business of making fuel treatment cleaners. But just look at the bottle here. Let's see here. Lucas upper cylinder lubricant and injector cleaner, treats 1 gallon up to 25 gallons, gasoline or diesel. Use every fill up for maximum power and fuel economy, this is like complete waste of money. I can't even begin to tell you. This is, if you buy, like, spend $5 every fill up. I mean, let's just say you fill up 4 times a month. Just say that's $20 extra. 20 times 12 is what, $240? It's $240 a year you're wasting on just treatment cleaner to save absolutely nothing. I mean, imagine you doing this over the span of a lifetime of a vehicle. Let's see here, before and after. So this is a valve here, an intake valve, which has deposits on there, and of course on the next picture here you see a clean valve. Also you see piston rings down here, and on the other side you see clean piston rings. That's bullshit. Piston rings generally are going to have problems because of inadequate oil changes. Also, you can have corrosion on valves because of inadequate oil changes. As a result of being delinquent on oil changes, the rings will wear out, the clearances in the cylinder, the bore will wear out, become excessive to the point where you'll start consuming oil. That's natural. I mean, that's going to happen. You can't use any type of fuel treatment cleaner to clean your valves or even get the rings or oil rings clean. It's not going to happen. That's just infrequent oil changes. Let's see here. Carbon in the combustion chamber can cause pre-ignition, loss of power, burned valves, broken rings, which is true. Let's see the carbon combustion chamber. So this is like excessive carbon. So again, I mean, this is primarily due to insufficient oil changes. I mean, I can't begin to tell you like how important it is to keep the oil change in the vehicle. Oh gosh, like some of the Toyotas, the 2009s that had the oil consumption problem. I remember I had to rebuild a motor. That could potentially be alleviated by keeping frequent oil changes. You have the oil ring that can become stuck. It will develop an excessive amount of buildup. The rings will not be able to rotate and become constricted. Oil will pass through, and then you'll start consuming oil. Pre-ignition. I can't imagine this bottle helping with alleviating carbon buildup, because for one, having oil in the container, if it's an upper cylinder lubricant, it has to have oil in here. If it has oil in here, adding oil to your fuel system to put oil back inside the combustion chamber is only going to cause more buildup. Doesn't make any sense. I can understand leaning out the mixture. Maybe when you lean it out, you'll heat up the carbon buildup to the point where it'll slowly start to chip away. Burn valves. Yes, again, this is true to a certain degree, but this is not going to be the sole proprietor for correcting these problems. Again, it's more likely going to be oil changes. I would say, hey, yeah, buy Lucas oil products. As long as you keep the oil change, yeah, that's going to be a lot more beneficial than this. Burns thoroughly, I can't even read, for more MPG and fewer emissions. I can't see that if this has oil in it. I don't call me crazy. Maybe it's the chemical reaction. Environmentally friendly. This diesel fuel additive complies with the federal low sulfur content it threw me off. Content requirements for use in diesel motor vehicles and non-road engines. Non-road engines. Okay. Let's keep out the reach of children. So this is not for consumption. Alright, so as far as the other side here, before the injector squirt like a 80-year-old man, and after like a 18-year-old vibrant young fella. So this the claim it has. Yeah, I don't see that. Again, I'm gonna have to wait till I get a bad injector. Maybe I get a car in the future and probably have to try this again to see what happens. But until then, I still call bullshit. Loss of fuel economy. It says foul injectors can cause. So yes, this is true in its own context, but it implies that this bottle can fix that because it's injector cleaner. It's like rhetoric. It's got a little bit of truth, a lot of bullshit, and it leaves everything up to implication here. So loss of fuel economy, loss of power, burned pistons, premature overhauls. All this because of foul injectors that can cause. So those foul injectors can cause those symptoms. Cleans and lubricates carburetors, injectors, and valve seats. Okay. Gasoline does that. Lubricates rings for longer cylinder life. So this is the thing here. It can claim it lubricates rings for longer cylinder life. So again, it's putting oil in there, but over here is supposed to help alleviate broken rings, burned valves, and pre-ignition pinging as a result of carbon buildup on pistons when that's only due to oil buildup. Crazy. It says pour entire contents in the bottle in the fuel tank before or after fueling. Non-solvent. I don't believe that. I have to look at the safety data sheet, which I didn't really look at. Well, I didn't look at it at all. Excellent for use in marine applications. So if there's no solvents in here, this is oil, and oil being put through the engine is going to cause buildup, because oil kind of sort of don't belong in a combustion chamber. Kind of sort of like heavy oils. I can imagine fixing an oil problem with the oil. You know, I mean, you clean oil caked up debris with solvents. I mean, like I said, call me crazy. It's just my theory on this stuff. So I don't see what's the purpose of people purchasing these things. You know, it doesn't do nothing for the vehicle. If people kept the maintenance up on the car, things will definitely work in their favor. And again, a lot of stuff generally transpire as a result of lack of oil changes. So it's pointless to add any type of additive in the fuel system, assuming it's going to resolve any negligent maintenance. So, would I buy this again? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, even the second one I bought, I just literally gave it away. So, other than that, like I said, once I get something else in the future, I'll definitely try and do a video on injector problems, but I don't get injector issues like that. I am curious to see if there's any type of repair for fuel trims, if it is something fuel related. So that would be a thing I may consider in the future also. If the cleaning solution for the injector fits, yeah. But it's rare that I have these issues. Extremely rare. Maybe because of my lack of clientele. I need more clients. But alright. Hey, if my car breaks as a result of me putting this Lucas in there, Lucas decided to sue me because, you know, I'm talking shit about their product. Probably or probably not. Gosh. I mean, this world is full of infinite possibilities. Like, anything can happen. Hit that subscribe button. Stay informed. Have that reassurance on my work. And so on to the next one.